therefore, anything that touches stability in Kenya touches really the nerve that feeds into Uganda's heart in the economic sense. So therefore, it is something that has been dear to our members, and we had reassurances from our executive director, who has been constantly engaging with you, that something is happening and there was no cause for alarm. So when we get an invite from KPA to speak to us about this, we get excited. The other, as part of my remarks, is the fact that the members of WUMA have shown a lot of commitment to really sourcing their goods through the port of Mombasa. And I think because of that commitment, it is quite pertinent that actually we have a conversation, maybe also beyond. I know that actually what is on agenda is so much to do with the electoral exercise, but coincidentally, incoming was my very good friend, Mr. Luavogo from Mukwano, who is among the major users of actually your services. And I know that he will be having maybe probably like any other members issues that could go over and above actually the electoral cycle, because our commitment to working with you is total and should transcend actually the electoral period, although this is very much in the immediate. The other thing that also we have been trying to speak to in terms of doing business is seeing that actually we deepen our collaboration in terms of enabling our members fast track access to especially inputs and machinery in a manner that is very much seamless, because we realized recently when we have been interacting with our members that many of them are still challenged when it comes to really managing processes that touch clearance of goods. And yet we know that as ESC, much has been enabled to ensure seamless clearance of goods all the way from Mombasa up to any part of Uganda. So really, in the main, this is your meeting. We are very anxious to get to know what is it that you have for us. And I want to restrict my remarks to what I have just said, but with the reassurance that our commitment to working with you is total, as Uganda Manufacturers Association, but also adding that we want to have that conversation in the context of the global working arrangement, which has exposed us to global competition, and therefore competitiveness remains very key going forward, working with you. Once again, ED and team, thank you very much for this arrangement. And I think since you are the moderator, the program is auto, I'm told. So we would just get into actually the remarks of I have done remarks that were supposed to be for the chairman and treat them as also the remarks that were supposed to be done by me. And once the chair comes in, he can share with us once he's here. Can we then move forward to get the remarks from the country representative, Kenya Post Authority? I saw a Mr. and I saw Betty, but I think it is a typo.
Yeah,
Apologies for that.
I would like to take this opportunity and thank every member who is attending this meeting. Good morning, everyone. We actually honored, and special thanks goes to Uma for making this possible, arranging the meeting, and we do not take it for granted as Kenya Ports Authority. Appreciation to you. And we would like to have such sessions more frequently so that we're able to have the opportunity to build our loyalty and also our relationship in terms of business is concerned. Because these are the platforms where we are able to discuss and pave a way forward to see how seamless the business can go through the Port of Mombasa. Uganda market is a very important market to the Port of Mombasa, and so are the members of UMA. Because without the members, then there will be no port. No one is there to use it. So we want to say thank you, and we are here to support each other. We want to build this relationship and take it to another level. It's a friendship and business relationship as well. Thus, when we come for that meeting, we look at each other like partners, where we need you and we also have to do business together. Many thanks for the support and the cooperation. I'm the new country rep who was just reported in the region. I became officially in office in April, and I would like to introduce the team which is here from Kenya Ports Authority that are going to take the discussion forward so that they'll be able to engage in us, so that they give you assurance and the way forward during the election period. But as the remarks that were said earlier, we still have a session tomorrow, which is organized by Kenya Ports Authority at Serena, Kampala, where it's going to dive more deeper into the issues that probably will touch interest of most of the members, because we are going to be discussing on documentation, cargo process handling, and we're also going to talk about the trade facilitation that the Port of Mombasa is offering. But this would actually be covered and has been prepared to be done tomorrow at the Serena, Kampala. So I would like to take this opportunity and invite every member to actually make an appearance and attend the session tomorrow. So I would introduce my team. We are led by General Manager, Cargo Operation, Mr. Sudi Masenago, Dr. Sudi Masenago. And we have Head of the Security Services, Kenya Ports Authority, Mr. Tony Kibwana. We have Manager, Cargo Operations, Simon Wahome. We have Operation Senior Officer, Tanui. We have Operation Officers, Caroline Gadogo. We still have another officer, Clinton Ranger. And the team that works with you very closely here locally in Uganda, led by myself, we still have Linda Mbambazi, and we have Doreen Nyange. This is the team that is representing KPA in this meeting, and we are honored to be here in your presence and to take this meeting forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the remarks. And I want at this juncture to announce and introduce our chair who are serving. I did indicate to you that I was not Mr. Deo. I would want to take this opportunity to actually give you an opportunity to share actually to share what you do. We don't take it for granted. It's a big moment. We want to say thank you for coming on board. That is the opportunity. This is the message we want to Thank you very much. Understand my team has already introduced themselves. My name is Deo Kayimba.
especially when it comes to you replacing the road network. There is still a little bit of problem with the interlink with Uganda Railways, but I think you're working on that, and we should be able to see seamless movement. The immediate past, we had a little problem with damage, given that there has been issues in the entire world with COVID, the disruption caused by COVID. We didn't seek a coming on board very fast to assist us with extended period. Here we saw you sticking on to your original agenda, and we thought you are not considering. But later, I think things are coming through. As we discussed, I have key business captains, like my brother here, we have all the chief operations officer, Mukwano Industries, and Mukwano Industries, one of your main customers. They give us some of the issues that we are facing, and the rest of the people here. I don't want to take a lot of your time. I welcome you. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much for the remarks. The technology, yes, providers were indicating that actually the people online were complaining that we're not as audible as we should be. And I think now matters have improved. With those remarks, Chair, we will now go and deep dive into the discussion on security and business continuity during the election period, which is actually the main substantive item on our program. And therefore, I will be inviting my brother, the general manager, to take us through on this. Thank you very much.
Good morning once again. It gives me a lot of pleasure. Gives me a lot of pleasure and comfort to hear that the business community in Uganda, and UMA in particular, has stuck with the port of Mombasa as their gateway.
Once again, good morning. introduction has already been given, but there's no problem that I reintroduce myself. I am the General Manager, Cargo Operations, Dr. Sudi Amani Mwesinago. I'm heading this delegation on behalf of the Managing Director, Kenya Ports Authority, Ambassador John Mwangemi. Mr. Chairman, it gives me a lot of pleasure and comfort to hear that the Uganda business community, and UMA in particular, have stuck with the Port of Mombasa as their gateway. We know that you have options. There are other options that you can choose, but hearing of the confidence that you have for the Port of Mombasa gives us a lot of pleasure. This will not be taken for granted, and as a port, we will continue to serve you. We will continue to address your challenges. We will continue to partner with you in your endeavor to enhance and improve on your businesses. The partnership has been around since the port started, and to put matters into perspective, Uganda, amongst the transit countries, has a market share of around 76%. 76% of the transit thing. If you look at the next in that pecking order, that is South Sudan, with 11%, then it makes Uganda as a sole and key partner in the business. I want to thank the two governments, two partner states, for enhancing that environment that has thrived and made sure that the port is getting this business. And we want to thank President Yoweri Museveni and President Uhuru Kenyatta for that great partnership. Because it's because as an hinterland, you have options. You can decide to choose any other place in the range. Under the UNCLOS, that is the United Nations Convention on the Laws of the Sea, we as the port, as a nodal point, as a little state, we are duty bound to serve the hinterlands or the land-linked countries. But it's not just about the convention, because without Uganda, we are cooked, we are done. This is to underscore your importance in the trade as a country and the port volumes and traffic in particular. So, going into the matters of the day about the assurance on security and business continuity during the election period in Kenya, I want to say that I have with me a battery of high-level officers from the port of Mombasa. In fact, the business and decision makers. I, being the general manager, cargo operations, I'm doing the core business. So essentially, it is the port that is here. And with me, I have the head of security services, Mr. Tony Kibwana, is in charge of all security matters in the port and in the corridor, that is the northern corridor. So here you have all those that matter. That to underscore the seriousness of this delegation. Delving down to the matters of the day, Mr. Chairman, Kenya will conduct its elections on the 9th of this year. That is 9th August. That's barely 6 days away. As they say, once bitten, twice shy. So it is normal for the business community to develop a wait and see attitude. It is virtually happens. And whenever the elections happen, we've been seeing this. So we have learned from experiences and from the past. This tendency has essentially affected and slowed operations at the port, even to the extent of the port operations or the port as a whole going into a congestion. That has been the trend. And learning from that, we thought it wise and prudent that we come and see and meet and discuss with our number one stakeholder, not even a customer, our number one partner. At this juncture, I want to assure and reassure you of an uninterrupted service delivery and operations during and after the electioneering period. In this, KPA, in collaboration with all key government stakeholders and agencies and cargo interveners, has put in place sound measures to ensure business continuity during and after the elections. We last month had several delegations from Uganda, and we appreciate. For example, we had the Uganda Coffee Federation. I think we had a meeting online. We had the Parliamentary Committee on Budget visiting us. We had the Uganda Revenue Authority Board of Directors also meeting us in Mombasa. And paramount on that was about the security situation on the eve, during, and after the elections. And we assured the delegations that we have learned from experience that this would not recur. As a port, we have put up several measures. So elections are no excuse for violence. So we are saying we cannot allow history to repeat itself. We will not allow history to repeat itself. The government of Kenya has promised the business community that it will act with urgency to detect, deter, and avert any election-related violence and lawlessness. Some of the measures include, and my colleague from security will unpack, the creation of the Northern Corridor Special Police Unit. I think most of the members may be privy and aware of this. This is a special unit that will monitor the activities of the corridor. Their engagements with the communities in Kenya, state actors, religious organizations, and reinforcements of the police to help maintain peace. So there are deliberate efforts to ensure that religious groups, communities have been approached to ensure that they meet, create awareness and educate the people on the importance of peace throughout this period. There's also been mapping out of hotspots to enable police monitor incidents that are likely to cause violence. There must be some hotspots where the flash points are very low, and they have been mapped out to ensure that they are monitored to deter any prospects of violence. The Directorate of Public Prosecution, in collaboration with IEBC, that is the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, launched a program. The program is called the Election Security Arrangement Plan. That was to ensure free, fair, and credible general election. The DPP committed and promised that the ESAP, that is the Electoral Security Arrangement Plan, will enhance the collaboration of IEBC and other stakeholders, for instance, the National Police, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, and the Justice and Legal Affairs, to ensure that there is peace throughout this period. So in terms of preparedness as a port, we are ready. The port will work 24 hours, 7 days throughout this period. There'll be no stoppage of operations in the port. And with this collaboration with other stakeholders and agencies, the corridor is also secured. Talking about the development, because UMA is about business, about trade. So besides security, the port has embarked on infrastructural development. These projects are to ensure that there is improved service delivery to meet the increasing customer demand. Some of those projects, Mr. Chairman, is the construction of another berth where the President will tomorrow commission this berth. That is berth number 22. We have a total of 19 berths. Now, this alone has added the capacity of handling containers to 2.1 million containers, or 20-foot equivalent units. So this facility has added 450,000 containers. The port of Kisumu was also rehabilitated, and we've seen growth in business from 2019. The rehabilitation involved the improvement of the processes, infrastructure, revamping of the berths. At the moment, we are seeing MV Kawa. MV Kawa is a Uganda-registered vessel that is plying Port Bell and Kisumu. We're also seeing MV Uhuru-1 also plying Kisumu and Port Bell and Jinja, doing business of oil. We have also a new facility which, again, the President will commission tomorrow, called it Kipevu Oil Terminal 2. This facility has got 3 berths that are equipped. It's a total of 4 berths, but at the moment of 3 buses that are equipped to handle 4 VLCC and ULCC and tankers. So this is in a bid to ensure that there is an interrupted supply of fuel in Kenya and the region. We also have the Lamu port, which was commissioned in 2020 May. These are another commercial port and a creation of another corridor, because the Mombasa to Uganda is the northern corridor. Then we have now the other corridor that is from Lamu through Lokichogio, Nadapal, Nesitu to Juba, that is going to connect the port of Lamu with South Sudan as well as Ethiopia. We have also the Dongo Kundu special economic zones that work has started, and this is an opportunity for Uganda business community and UMA to come and invest in Kenya. It's an opportunity for the region to come and invest in Kenya through the Ministry of Trade and Industrialization. We have a 3,000 acres of land that is open and greenfield that the business community can come and seek to invest. This will be free, rapid, and without any problems. The SEZ will be supported by another container terminal, and work has started. In fact, the designs are at the detailed stage. From next year, the work will start to create that facility to support the SEZ. For those few and very many remarks, Mr. Chairman, allow me to invite my colleague to say anything about security, and then we open.
Thank you very much, General Manager, Cargo Operation, Dr. Amani Sudi. I just want to echo on matters security, and just like what has been said by the General Manager, I just want to reassure the Uganda business community that adequate security measures have been put in place, and this has been done from top level, from the national government, where a multi-agency security arrangement has been put in place to address and look at all matters, social, economic, that have an impact, or that will have an impact on, that will affect economy due to security emanating from the election. But I just want to ensure that all matters have been put in place, and the same has been cascaded downwards to the port, where we have the Port Security Committee, and the port will continue operating 24/7 during the day of the election and after the election. And security along the corridor from the port all the way to the corridor has been put in place. And your cargo, the truck asset, the drivers will all be secure. And the security arrangement has also been done all the way to the local security, what we call them, the county security committees, have also been, they are fully aligned and also working towards ensuring that there is free flow of cargo and commerce along the northern corridor. We are also working with other government agencies, including Kenya Revenue Authority, where we have the regional electronic cargo tracking seals, so that in case of anything, just like they've always been doing, there's always the rapid response. So the Northern Corridor Police Unit under the National Police Service is also operating along the corridor, and we do not anticipate any issue along the corridor. And with the measures that have been put in place, the government of Kenya is ready to address any matter that may arise. But based on the information that we have and observations that we have on the ground, I just want to reassure that adequate measures are in place. It is just maybe from the past incident, that's when there is always this, of course, the alertness. Everybody is anxious. But on the ground, based on the observations that we have and the information that we have and the awareness that has been created, we do not foresee any issue at all. So mine is just to reassure from the information that I have is that there will be no any issue or major issue pertaining to this election. But contingency measures have also been put in place so that we do not relax, knowing that the situation is well contained, the teams are well briefed, community engagement has also been done. But in case of anything, the government has put adequate measures for rapid response. Contacts from Mombasa all the way to the border of the officers involved from the Northern Corridor Police Unit and all the other multi-agency security teams, the contacts are available and they will be shared just in case of any emergency. The members can be able to communicate and alert the teams. So we will continue doing that, and we'll share the contacts with the Uganda Manufacturers Association so that you can also communicate the same to your members. These are just emergency, just in case of any emergency, you can be able to contact and there will be immediate response. But once again, is to reassure you that all the measures are in place to take care on matters security. And I think as a country, we've learned from the previous incidents and the election cycle. We've had several election cycles from the previous, the 2007. And there's not been any major disruption apart from that incident of 2007. We did election in 2013, and in fact twice. There was a repeat election, and we're still able to continue operating. There was free flow of cargo without any disruption, and nothing has changed. It will still be the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, team from KPA. It gives us great pleasure to hear the reassurances. But like you, the general manager rightly said, once bitten, twice shy. It was important that we get this reassurance. I think in the interest of time and to ensure also that our audience participates, I want to take it upon myself as chair to extend this dialogue by another 15 minutes so that we compensate for some lost time. And I think we are now good to go. I would want to invite Mr. Ruabog. I see he has been actually anxious to say something about what is being debated as a key stakeholder before we can have people online. Thank you, sir.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've already been introduced. I thank Uma for extending the introduction to the invite to one of our members. We've been members of Uma since initiation, and we strongly support the advocacy role they play in our sector as manufacturers. They only not deal with big manufacturers, they go down to SMEs and the Juakali. And even the Juakali who do some consolidation work, they also have some issues with their imports, and because they also use the port of Mombasa. In interest of time, and now that we have a bigger session tomorrow, where we'll have a bigger team to address issues affecting our imports into this country through the port of Mombasa, I beg Mr. Chairman to reserve my questions, but I'll make sure that I raise them tomorrow, where I believe Uma will also be available, so that they can be shared with a bigger import group of the country. But I thank Uma for taking this initiative to bring KPA on board and continue along this path, because really that's why we subscribe to Uma. Uma organizes other meetings with a lot of other agencies, both government and non-government, that affect trade in this region. For sure, without saying, Mr. Sudi and his team and our representative here, your ambassador, knows what we go through. Either by email or by newspaper, you really understand what the importer requires as a service from KPA, without even asking. You know, it's like a mother with a baby. Just looking at the mood of the baby, the mother knows that now she needs to suckle, though the baby can't even talk. Correct? Even we all who have children, when you enter your home, especially kids below the age of 4, you will tell this kid has a problem. Is he or she sick? What is happening? It's not normally quiet. Then you know maybe he has done some mischief or something like that. So we thank KPA, the developments you have done and the efforts you have done to facilitate trade, but we still believe there is still a lot more to be done to make sure that we improve business in the region. You all know that costs, every time we pay costs, especially penalties, those increase our cost of doing business. And that's where the problem is. You know, every time you go to anybody giving you a service, he gives you a quote. And once you append your signature, that means you've accepted the quote. But anything outside that quote disorients his business, because he's not budgeted for that extra cost. And they believe as a port, penalties are not part of your budget. You do not budget that. You see now in demurrage and storage, if we raise so much trillion, we'll have done better. Your budget is on the tariff. So we request that at all times, like our chairman said, that during COVID, yes, you gave us extension of free period, 15 days, maybe you wanted 20. But we kept quiet, we worked through that, things were hard. We appreciate even the little that you gave us consideration. But in certain tough times, really don't wait for us as stakeholders to come to the port and start asking for favors or considerations. We would believe that as stakeholders, you also think on our side and really consult us and give us what is due to us so that we can continue supporting us. A lot of developments have been done, like you said, Naivasha, Kisumu, and the rest. But without rail, we do not want to put you to the port. But you also know, if the other agencies are not working that support you, then your business won't also grow. I think you have a bigger voice than us to push the government to make sure that the infrastructure is functional, right from the port to the last end. If there is any hindrance, like now we are talking about security, you don't belong to police, you don't belong to the army. But we know if security is disturbed, the port won't perform. And if the port won't perform, we as UMA will be in bigger trouble, because about 80% of our raw materials we use in this country pass through the port of Mombasa. So that's why we are really making this call. And we know that according to the budget of Kenyan government, you contribute a lot. So if you talk, the government will listen. If you say, please, tighten security, otherwise we'll collapse, the government will wake up faster than we here in Uganda making noise. Because the government may not understand that we do 75% through the port of Mombasa. You know, it's like during the time of Napoleon, when the son said, Dad, you have a lot of money. Why do you tax toilets? He said, no, money has no smell. Money is money. You understand? So the government doesn't know where money comes, but all they want is they have their budget and they do their things. You understand where the money comes, and therefore that's why you are here in Uganda at this later stage. So with that, Chair, thank you so much for the time. But believe me or not, I have a lot to ask as an importer, as the use of the port of Mombasa, and I will raise these questions, they will go on record on behalf of UMA members. Thank you, Edie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ruavogo. Next to me is my colleague. He also has something to raise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Eddie Senkumba, board member of UMA. Since the session is about assurance on security and business continuity during the election period in Kenya, my question is, like my colleague has said, you guys understand where the money comes from. And it's been a tendency that whenever there is any skirmishes, you know, around the Kenyan side, the transporters hike prices. I don't know, you as KPA, with the mass on the authority that you have, are going to help us, the business community, in trying to curb these probably unforeseen transport hikes. Because, you know, as night follows day, you know, they're going to use the chance, you know, giving us all sorts of excuses about, you know, we need to, you know, secure our trucks, we need to do this. And we, the importers, will ultimately be the people who are going to face these steep pricing. I don't know, as KPA, what you'll be able to help us in terms of regulating these transporters. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I request ED to take us through those questions that are actually coming online?
Okay. Thank you, Chair. We have about 32 people who are online attending this session, and we'd like to thank them for participating. Some of the questions are highlighted there. Are there safe routes earmarked for safe cargo transit? If yes, kindly highlight which ones. Then the second one is from previous election periods, what margin percentage of reduction of volumes or business has been recorded? The next is administrative. The next, could we anticipate some disruption with freight by air? What advice would KPA give in this area in light of the election season? Then a key one here from one of our board members is around cargo escort, because I think previously there was escort of cargo through the Kenyan region when elections were ongoing in order to avoid disruption to the cargo transit. Is this a measure that is coming back on board? Then the last one speaks to, details about tomorrow's session. What time does it start? And what are the requirements for attendance? I think so far those are the ones online. For those who would like to ask questions online, there's a Q&A. There's a Q&A part within the Zoom call. If you could go in there and type it, we will read it out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ED.
I think at this juncture, may we request the team from KPA to respond to the issues that have so far emerged.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If there's some 5 or 6 questions, some bordering on security, others on the commercial aspect of it and logistics. On transporters hiking prices during this period and our intervention. Yes, we have, maybe you may be aware, we have a Friday stakeholders meeting whereby all the agencies congregate, and now online and physically, to discuss matters that are affecting facilitation of trade in the region and through the port. Kenya Transport Association is a member of this community, and we'll take upon ourselves and talk to them in that meeting and also individually as a concern that has been raised from our visit here. But as well, we have the maritime regulator, the Kenya Maritime Authority, which is under the Ministry of Transport. This is a matter that we also escalate to them so that we get the matter addressed before even the time comes, because we are just 6 days away. So, Chair, we are committing that this will be escalated and we will take individual efforts, personal efforts, to ensure that this concern has been taken to the doors of the responsible parties and we get a response. On safer routes, I think my colleague will tackle that one. And the margin of reduction, as we alluded to earlier on, the wait and see attitude. Looking at the previous elections, it has not been much, negligible, as it were. But yes, we get a reduction in volumes. Looking at this quarter or this half-year period, and because the people are still smarting from the adverse effects of COVID-19, and now with the situation, the war in Ukraine and Russia. So it's a mix of issues. So we are saying that yes, the port at the moment, the volumes have not grown as expected because of the COVID-19 and the war in Russia and Ukraine. But we're anticipating that economies are now revamping, and this election particularly, with what we've said, will not affect the volumes or the traffic through the port. Disruptions of freight by air, I didn't quite get it clearly. What the question is about, maybe we can have it recasted or paraphrased to ensure that we get the right response. Cargo escort, my colleague from security will talk about this. And then the tomorrow session, I think the Secretariat and the office will work on this. Thank you, Chair. Hand over to the Secretary.
Okay, Chair. With regards to the first question on safer routes, as I mentioned earlier, in fact, I can answer the 2 questions with one answer. Safer routes and cargo security. As I mentioned earlier, we have the multi-agency security teams in place, and we have a specialized unit strategically placed from the port all the way to the border, and the contacts are available. And from the information, as I mentioned, we have on the ground is we do not foresee any issues. But in case of any issue, you should be able to contact the numbers that are available. From 2013, 2017, I think we've had 3 elections. The 2013 election and the 2017 repeat elections. Those are 3 elections. And we still did not have any issue arising out of that. So the same way, we do not foresee any issue arising out of this particular election. So all the routes should be safer, the traditional routes that they use. The escort, the Northern Corridor Police Unit is strategically placed. And the security of the port is actually a multi-agency. And due to the critical, being a critical infrastructure, the Port Security and Intelligence Committee is actually headed by KPA. And we normally have officers from the National Police, from the intelligence, all seated in that committee. And any issues that we raise, they actually go to the highest level. That is the National Security Advisory Committee. And we also get advisory. So far, we've not received any negative advisory on matter security. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There was something to do with tomorrow's session at Serena. If you may react to that.
Tomorrow's session has been planned by Kenya Post Authority. It's going to be held in Serena Kampala Hotel, and it's a half-day session. The details of the invitations and what is required has been shared by ED for UMA. So I believe he's going to share the same with the members so that they are guided accordingly.
Thank you very much. Do we have any new comments emerging? Hey. Okay. I want to be guided, ED. Do we have any fresh questions, or we tend towards closure? If there are no new questions. Okay.
There was a question around whether there will be a summary of this session. This is already uploaded on our YouTube channel, Uganda Manufacturers Association, so you can go back and review the content at your leisure.
Thank you very much. It appears that the submission from KPA was very comprehensive, because judging from the questions, they need an applause from our side as women, please. As we tend towards closure, for me, I want to take this opportunity to pick actually the 3 specific takeaways from this meeting for purposes of moving forward. Number 1 is to do with the session that is coming up tomorrow. From what we hear, we already have the invite. And of course, the various members of WUMA will be able to get this invitation from the Secretariat. Number 2 is the issue of contacts in case of distress. And we have been assured that actually this will come through for sharing. Many thanks for that clarification. And lastly, is something that came through from the country rep, which was to do with deepening collaboration with WUMA. And what I want to put on table is the mode of how we do it. Ma'am, the way we do it with agencies with which we work very closely, among which is KPA, is that we always envisage putting pen to paper in terms of an MOU. An MOU can be developed between the two organizations that put on record areas of collaboration and how we want to take our collaboration forward. Because this then eases how we then interact. We want to propose that we take that route because actually, judging from experience, it has been a very successful way of doing things, including actually deepening collaboration with agencies of government of Uganda. Can you imagine? We have, for example, an MOU with Uganda National Bureau of Standards. Even though we are in the same Ministry of Trade and Industry, but we thought that it was important, and we have seen the difference being great. With those remarks, I want to say that it has been a great privilege for us as WOMA to host you this morning for the reassurance on security. If there is anything that is on every manufacturer's head, has been the continuity of business during and after the election in Kenya. Much more so because of the reports that have been coming through from the media, because at times the fourth estate does not assist. Because the way they project the contestation at times gets out of context and creates anxiety. But with this reassurance, I think it's great that actually we are able to re-echo to our members that I think we are assured that we shall not have any interruptions during this process. Having said that, I want to really say that for us, we are actually looking forward to a deeper collaboration. And it was well said by Mr. Ravogo that there are deeper issues to share tomorrow. And I think those deeper issues will be the issues that we keep on tracking under the MOU arrangement. Now that my chair is here and he was not here at the opening, I want to invite him to close. I want to invite you to close, Mr. Chairman, much more formally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Miru, for the remarks. Thank you, members, for making it up to here to discuss with us. We don't take this for granted. And the Ugandan team, we expect you here more often because it's continuous improvement, both on your side and ours. So, and we also appreciate the membership visits. Maybe I should introduce our director for membership. Sometimes we need to have interactions with members on one-to-one, and we visit them. When we are visiting key members like Mukwano and others, where KPA plays an important role in their operations, I think we should part of the MOU, we should team up with you to give assurance of members. Having said that, I wish to close this meeting and thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Okay.